I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell, and this is consumer news you can use. When a tornado tore through my neighborhood 20 plus years ago, a tree fell and split my home like a hot dog in a bun. It was an emergency situation, and my go-to solution was Richmond Tree Experts. Joining me today is TrustDALE original partner Pat Lombardo of Richmond Tree Experts. How are you doing, Pat?
Good. How are you, Dale? Nice to see you again.
You know, Pat, I have a vivid memory of that day and how you came to not only my rescue, but my entire neighborhood's rescue. Tell me how you approach an emergency tree removal situation.
Well, usually when it's an extreme situation, we're called in by a lot of insurance companies. And when the first thing I do, if someone calls me to look at their tree, even if it's on their house, I tell them to just calm down and don't just jump on every price that comes your way, because your insurance is going to cover it. So we just see what we need to get the tree off the house, and then we talk about how the insurance company should handle it.
When my horror show started, there were a lot of fly-by-night removal companies, tree removal companies swarming the neighborhood, and they were gouging people with high prices and subpar service. I remember, Pat, the gentleman that lived across the street from me was quoted, I think, $10,000 to remove the tree. Tell me about the value your team brings to a home and business.
Okay, so like I was saying before, you don't jump on any price, especially if the people or the tree person says they want to get paid immediately after you're done. The way we handle it is we have guidelines from insurance companies, just about 5 or 6 major ones. We know what they expect for a crane, for a bucket truck, for a crew to remove it off the house. So we stay in those guidelines. So when we give you a price, it's not denied by the insurance company. And in fact, we don't collect anything in an emergency situation. We wait for the insurance company to settle with the homeowner.
Pat, I love to tell the story of when I met you and you came to me after all these people were trying to get 10, 15,000 for tree removal. And you said, Dale, I'll do it for, I think it was $1,100. I won't be able to take the tree off your property today, but I'll get it off your house. I'll cut it up and I'll come back as soon as I'm allowed to come into the neighborhood and remove it. And that's exactly what you did. Pat, what drove you to be so fair that day when so many other people were gouging?
Well, in a crisis, I don't think people should have to pay more money for the same job, for the same service. So we kept within that limits, especially when people are in a situation like that.
Well, my hat's off to you, and you know that. What advice would you give to someone who has one or more trees on their property that could cause some problems in the future?
A lot of times don't jump to conclusions, because sometimes what you think is a problem, someone said, well, that tree's leaning or that tree's a hazard. You need to get a certified arborist out to evaluate the tree and then go from there.
Is there anything to preventative tree care? Can you actually avoid a problem?
Yeah, after you remove those problem trees, then you should get all your trees evaluated, obviously. And then there's fertilization, there's deep root fertilization, there's pest management and disease management. So if you keep your trees healthy, that will prevent future problems, unless, of course, there's a tornado.
True. Well, that's really good advice, Pat. And my advice, the best time to find a tree maintenance and removal company is before you need them. So go ahead and take a screenshot of the banner on the screen today for Richmond Tree Experts phone number. Or better yet, go to trustdale.com and there you will find hundreds of certified companies that I use and trust. Thanks so much for joining us today, Pat.
Thank you for having me.